Hi, my name is Ricky. I teach design thinking. The concept behind my class was all about problem solving and communication. So they had to learn how to define a problem, think of ideas about how to solve the problem, and then communicate their idea to the public. So they did things like an invention commercial where we gave them a worldwide problem and they got to be as creative as possible as they wanted. And then they had to make a skit on how they would sell their invention and how their invention worked. And then they also did a debate because you have to be able to learn the pros and cons of something before you can invent something. You have to learn how it will impact the public. So they did debates on vaccines, they did debates on using plastic bags, they did a human versus robots debate on who should go to Mars. So they took all of those concepts and then they put it together in something called a smart city. And in their smart city, they had to also bring in everything they learned from their other classes. So their smart city included things like coding, AR, VR, 3D printing, where they had to tackle these worldwide problems we talked about earlier. And then they had to figure out ways to solve them, and then they had to write down the information so they could communicate it to the public. So it's like a full circle by the end. A lot of my kids, they came in and they were like, okay, what is design thinking? Don't really know this. So they got all of these problems and they're like, well, what do I even do with them? How do I even tackle them? So they knew world hunger existed, but they didn't know they could do something possibly in the future to solve it. So I'm hoping they'll take what they learned from this class and they'll look at these issues on a wider scale and eventually think, hey, I can impact this world too. So they might be tempted to take classes more in the STEM nature and learn how to tackle these problems.
My name is Nicholas Shu. I teach electronics and coding. In this class, we were responsible for teaching them the basics of circuits. So what is a series circuit? What is a parallel circuit? How is it that current flows? Touched a little bit upon the physics of particles and a little bit on how to get energy from different resources to generate electricity. Then from there we moved on to these little circuits called little bits, which are a simplified version of Arduinos, allowing you to do a lot of the same features that Arduinos can do, but in a more simplified manner with a easy to use software with using drag and drop coding and nice sensors and interfaces to allow you to use speakers, some screens, and analog switches or digital switches and a variety of other things. I think they really enjoyed the aspect of coding and the fact that you can really integrate the circuits and then move that towards the coding portion where they can actually see, as one example, is the guitar circuit, which is not really a guitar, but you utilize an analog switch to get different tones or different frequencies of sound. And with that, also bring in different images in the screen. They really get really excited about that. And, hopefully getting them to really getting their hands dirty and to do more coding. And if they enjoy a little bit, which is a rather expensive product to use, then they can then start moving on to Arduinos, Raspberry Pis, which are significantly cheaper, but can do way more than what little bits can do.
I'm Dr. Sean Bullock, and I am the VR and AR instructor for the Verizon program. The program is very, very beneficial for young students for the simple fact that it exposes them to not only current technologies, but also they get to see how these technologies are going to evolve. And that's important because technology nowadays evolves so quickly. You have to be able to get some form of exposure to these technologies at an early age so that as they continue to evolve, you'll be able to keep up with the learning curve. One thing that I love about the VR and AR me being a film professor for the past 14 years, I've noticed how the visual language of film and television has definitely changed and modified over the years. And our students are really absorbing most of their media through film and television or some form of visual interpretation in motion media. So this program has allowed for students to see an entirely new way that that media is actually being visually interpreted. Particularly with augmented reality, you have things such as holograms that supplement the traditional environment. And then with virtual reality, you're actually able to create an entirely new environment whereby you bring people out of reality and you create your own reality. So both forms, I feel, are not just evolving, but also provide students with another form of expression. So this program has been immensely impactful to students, and I am very honored and thankful that I was able to teach students this particular technology. And I definitely look forward in the future to being involved in these type of programs, not only because of my love of technology, but also the fact that I have strong admiration for programs that will provide students with exposure that they just wouldn't ordinarily receive had these type of programs not existed.
My name is Dr. Olu Bemiga Olatidoye. Some of my students will say Dr. O. Within the program itself, the Verizon Interactive Learning Program, I instructed on the 3D modeling and also the 3D printing, being assisted by Miss Madison, Dudley Madison, and Mr. Abdullah Sedebi, more or less looking at the computer-controlled images and drawings. The program was very impactful because at the beginning of the program, we have some of the students wanting to do various type of vocation, or some did not know what area they would be going into. But after going through the process, especially the design process, which is the ideation, simulation, and implementation, immediately there is a spark. You begin to see some of the young fellows beginning to say that they want to be an engineer, some wants to be scientists, and they begin to see how they can apply the knowledge of what they pick up just the first week in doing things. So a maker's environment was quickly created, and that was very impactful to see light going on in their eye, and based on some of the other exposure they have in other classes, I do believe that the program is very impactful on the students. The program is a thing that should continue. Dr. Vida Chandler have done a very good, tremendous job of creating this very particular program environment at Clark Atlanta University with the support of Ms. Robin Clayton and all the staff and professors that are involved in the program, especially the mentors. I do believe that this type of program should be duplicated in all areas, and very thankful to Verizon for realizing the potential of what the CAU team are able to bring on board, and for them renewing the program. And I do believe that the young ones that have gone through the program, this will set a great goal for them, because they also have external interaction, like with Captain Ivan and also Dr. Chris that came from Oak Creek National Lab. All those exposure for the student is a lifetime experience.